So, final question, final slide. Look at Acts 1, 7 to 8. Now, spend a few minutes just thinking. And someone can share what they think. Acts 1, 7 to 8 opens up or looks forward to a pattern that's going to be seen throughout Acts. What 3 stories or sections of Acts connect to this passage? It also connects backwards to a pattern and prophecy in the Old Testament. What Old Testament passage or story do you think that it connects with? Anyone?
Does that connect to the Tower of Babel, whenever the people were scattered to all the ends of the earth?
You know, it does connect there. What also connects there is the story of Pentecost. So God confuses people's language at Babel, and he takes away their confusion and languages at Pentecost.
Yeah.
So that certainly connects with Babel. It's not the one I was thinking of, but
No,
it definitely connects there.
I'm just looking at the fact that everybody's scattered.
Mm-hmm. Scattering out is a big theme in Genesis. God actually, a number of times, he says, multiply and fill the earth. And Babel's kind of them not doing that, all coming together and staying in one spot. And God then forces the scattering.
Yeah. But then, go for it. What about with not Moses, and Noah? You're going to have to tell us the answer.
I will. So, do you want to read Acts 1, 7, someone?
Yeah, right.
1, 7 and 8.
He said to them, "It is not for you to know the times or dates the Father has set by his own authority, but you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes onto you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, and in all Judea and Samaria, and to the ends of the earth."
So, anyone want to have a suggestion about what 3 sections of Acts or what 3 stories of Acts? You could do it either way. That verse 8 particularly connects to. It's opening up a pattern. So the pattern that's opening up is what happens directly afterwards. Pentecost, and Peter preaches to the people in Jerusalem and Judea. So that's to the Jewish nation. They hear God's gospel. They hear through the witness of Peter and the other apostles. And that's the first 7 chapters of Acts. And then in chapter 8, we have persecution, and we have the gospel going to the Samaritans and to the Ethiopian, who are connected to the Jews as well. So that's the witness that's happening there. And then from chapter 10, we have Peter going to Cornelius. And that's when the gospel is taken to the Gentile people, to the rest of the world. So that pattern has been foreseen in Acts 1:8, and that I'm sure that's why Luke wrote. I mean, the words are true, but I'm sure that's why he put the story and he shaped the story in that way. He wanted to show that pattern happening, how it actually came true. And that harks back to the Old Testament. Anyone want to suggest which Old Testament story really links in with Acts?
I was sort of thinking about the Abrahamic covenant.
Exactly. Yep. So do you want to expand on that?
In the Abrahamic covenant, God, that's a big thing to ask me to expand on, Graham.
I'll expand. So that's exactly right, though. It connects to Abraham. In chapter 12 of Genesis, God says, "I'll bless you and your family and the whole earth through you," which is exactly what the gospel going out to the whole earth is doing in Acts 1:8. So that pattern, you can see, is from the beginning of the Bible to the end.
And the Mosaic covenant talked about that as well. Israel was supposed to
be a light to the
Light
nations.
to the nations.
Exactly, and it's in Isaiah as well. There's lots of passages where this pattern of God's news going out to the whole world.
And if you think about today, they are the light of the world. I mean, most of the Nobel Peace Prizes are Jews, right? As far as technology is concerned, a lot of the forefront is a Jewish nation.
That's true. But I think it's more the spiritual light to the world, and that now is the
It's
church.
still,
The Christian church is now the real light to the world from
You've got to
Jesus.
remember one important one. They also were the people that designed the atom.
Now, next week, guys, we're moving back to my place because Malcolm's talking on poetry, biblical poetry. If you're anything like me, poetry is not my strong point,
Do we have to have a coffee before we go?
Probably.
but it's going to be really fascinating and interesting.
Yeah, it's poetry's. Hopefully, it will be
There's some lovely passages.
colourful and illuminating
Good.
rather than too.
My favourite book is Psalms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. There's a lot there. Thanks so much for being so attentive. And Luke, you stayed awake.
Yeah, I just, I'm falling faster.
Shall we pray to finish? Thank you, God, for your amazing word. Thank you for the stories throughout that bring us this theme of salvation, that when we turn away from you, you are there to rescue us. Help us to humbly fall to our knees. Help us to read these stories and see your hand throughout history and in our history. Amen.
Amen.